Adrian, can we talk about the situation before we jump into this?
Yeah. What's the situation?
What's the deal, girl? How busy of a human being are you? You gonna slot in 30 minutes? Adrian, you know I like to vent. You know I need my time. You can't run from me.
Yeah. So this month is crazy. I don't know how I ended up being so busy.
This is Nursing Uncensored. Your host, Adrianne Benning, invites you to listen in on conversations between real nurses about the crazy and wonderful lives we lead. This is a space meant to create laughter in addition to serious conversations, and nothing is off limits.
All right, so I'm ready. Let's jump in. I know your day is tight knit. So
yeah,
I'm
and
ready
I don't like scheduling myself tight, but we got like an hour, a little more. So I actually am sandwiching this interview. By the way, I'm really happy to have you here. Welcome to Nursing Uncensored and all that jazz. But you're back, and I'm glad you're back. And today is kind of a busy day for me, but it's not that I'm trying to squeeze you in with little time. It's that I want to talk to you on the show and in life in general so much that I'm willing to carve out little periods of the day where I can do that. So
good. I'm all about it. I'm in. I'm game. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. So just to give you a brief little description of what my day is. So this morning for about an hour at the hospital I work at, I had a shared governance kind of introductory meeting. I've never been on a shared governance committee before. I work in a magnet hospital. So for those of you that know about magnet, it's we have to do a bunch of shit to hit a status to make us attractive to nurses. So one of those things is shared governance, where nurses are on committees and we do all sorts. Today was that day where they were welcome to your first committee. Here's what all of this is. And so that's what I did. And then we're going to talk about some things today. We got some plans to talk. And then I'm going to go back to the hospital for a unit-based staff council meeting that I'm co-chair of.
Lord mercy.
But you got to remember, I only work 24 hours a week. So that is 80% of full time, according to my job. So I'm still getting paid. I'm still more than part time, technically. But all this extra shit that I do, this is the stuff that I do because I don't have kids. I don't have another job. This is my hobby, my passion. So that's kind of my day. After that, I'm probably going to lay in bed and watch Will and Grace and eat ice cream. So
because you got to do it. You have to do it. Look, you have to do it. Look.
And I want to work smart and not hard, right? You're down with that too,
exactly.
Right?
Smart.
You've got to work smart, not hard. We've talked about this.
I like it.
That's I want to stop talking about me and I want to talk about you because last we talked, you had a new adventure that you were embarking on.
Yes.
So those who have listened know what I'm talking about, but I want you to talk about your adventure. I want the dirty details about what you're doing right now.
So my new adventure, the last time we talked, I was telling Adrian that I was about to start being a travel nurse for the first time. And I have become a travel nurse since the last time I've been on. And oh my God, it is a lifestyle. Look, out there. So if you do remember the conversation we had, I was to the moon. I was super excited. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Every nurse should do it. I tried to convert Adrian into being a travel nurse.
You sure did.
I was 1000% gun ho about being a travel nurse. And then since being a travel nurse, there are huge things you need to know before going in to make sure that this might be something that you could do. But at the same time, if it's something that you are for doing, it is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's just been great. Adrian, it's just been great. I mean, I can't say anything but great, but it's just been great. So, I mean, that's where I am. I'm a travel nurse. My first assignment was down in Connecticut for it was a month and a half. And then I jumped up to Maine, get the New England coastal area taken care of.
Oh my God. My nurse best friend is from Maine.
Oh, wait, really?
My BFF, my work wife, so to speak, grew up In the country somewhere. I'm trying to remember, near Portland, Maine. Maine.
So I'm in Portland, Maine, and I found out really quickly, for all you Mainers that are listening, I'm sorry to say, but God damn it. It is boondocks everywhere 5 minutes outside of Portland. So literally you'll drive 5 minutes out of Portland and it is woods and cows and fucking horses. It is just boondocks.
I kind of like that. So do you at least have all of the benefits of, like, I hear there's like a good food scene there. I mean, I don't know. It's also the whitest state in the country, so I don't know if that means that.
You can say that again, Adrian. You can say that again. Boo boo. No complaint. Look, I'm a nurse. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it, right? And I'm in a hospital right in the city, so I live like 5 minutes from the hospital, which means I live in the city.
Nice.
Which means if anyone knows anything about me, I live and thrive upon like the social life. But outside of that, you're right. You're right. What else do you need? Portland is a great city. It's a great town. You guys, it's fun, but it's just a lot of fucking trees and a lot of nothing and a lot of, it's just Portland.
Do you have any outdoorsy bones in your body? Like, are you into hiking, snowshoeing, any of the shit that's happening in January in Maine?
No, very, very little. So I do plan on going on ski trips and snowboarding because everyone and their mother skis and snowboards out here.
Have you ever been skiing before?
I have, like 2 or 3 times.
I haven't.
It was, yeah. Oh, wait, seriously?
Seriously.
Wait, you're in Illinois, right?
Yeah, I grew up very close to Chicago. Now I live 4 hours.
There's definitely
west of
skiing
Chicago.
out there.
I mean, there are places, I mean, we're pretty flat, but there are like businesses that like have hillsides somewhere where you can ski down. But
maybe you're right. Maybe there isn't that much. Definitely not as much as out here.
I saw on like Interstate 35 coming back from Minneapolis, but that was literally like a massive hill along the interstate. So
yeah, no, but for all those nurses out there, just to put this in context so you can understand, like, it doesn't matter where you go. If you are going to be doing travel nursing, like if you just accept like the bare bones that you need to accept, yeah, it's cold out in Maine. Yeah, it might snow a couple more days than usual, but like, it is so fun. It is so interesting to go to a new hospital, see what they do, how they do what they do, talk to new nurses, talk about how they go about seeing everything that happens to all nurses everywhere, but the way their perspective is. Like, it is a fantastic thing, and I am still on that same high that I was the last time I was on. If you have the opportunity to do it, if you have any inclination in doing it, yes, please do it, because it is fantastic.
So I got to ask, how much training have you gotten, if any, at the 2 hospitals that you've been at so far? Are they both hospitals?
Both hospitals. Yeah. Yes, both hospitals. And the training is super, super simple. So the training is like, the orientation you go through is like, where are the fire exits? Where are the, what are you doing in code blue? What is the 4-digit code you can type on the thing? Or where's
how do you use a fire extinguisher?
Exactly. Like the real, like, things that you have to know when you're going into any new job. And then after that, you'll go on 1 day of orientation, 2 days of orientation, maybe 3, a full week of orientation. And then they'll ask you, do you need more? Do you want less? Do you want another person? They really cater it to you so you can learn the fastest, because they want to get you on the floor the fastest, because all travelers know they cost a lot. Like, as a travel nurse, I know I cost a lot more at the hospital I work at than a regular nurse. So they want you to be a nurse as soon as you possibly can. Some places give you 1-2 days and ask you if you're ready. And just be honest. If you are, yeah, I'm ready. Let me get paid for the job I'm getting done. If you're not ready, say no. I need a couple more days.
So for those listening, how many years have you been a nurse?
I've been a nurse. I'd say I like to say 3 years now. I'm going to say 3. I'll stop saying 2.5. I've been a nurse for 3 years, cool. And I've been a travel nurse for about.
Do you feel like you've been adequately prepared to like throw into a situation you've never been in and function? I mean, granted, there's always going to be stuff that you need, resources, assistance, whatever. But like, do you feel that functionally and for all intents and purposes, you can be a nurse anywhere you go?
For me personally, yes. Yeah. The answer for me is yes. But the answer for everybody else is it's how willing are you to ask for help when you need it? If you're the kind of nurse that you really like, if you're the kind of nurse that is nervous about asking for help, if you're the kind of nurse that won't ask for help until things go wrong, travel nursing is going to be very hard. You need to be a super experienced nurse until you do it. But if you're a new nurse and you want to travel, but you have no issue people judging you, giving you the eye, looking at you with that fucking, are you stupid look? Like, if you have no problem raising your voice and saying, I've never done this, I want to help here. What is the code to this thing? How do I get this? Who do I page? What is the doctor's name? If you have no problem asking those questions, and yes, getting some attitude from some people, usually the minority, then travel nursing is good for you.
So you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, basically.
Most definitely. That's yes, Adrian.
I mean, but
yes.
that's nursing, because even on your own floor where you know where all the light switches and the bathrooms are, you're still going to have shit that you don't know how to do, that you need to learn on the fly, figure out how to do it. And that's a lot of what traveling is, like figuring out where the med room is, where the supply room is, and then applying the critical thinking and shit that you already know to people in a different place. Because while people are all different and there are so many variables, the human body is the human body. So if you've worked, neuro on the East Coast, you can work neuro on the West Coast. Exactly. There are a lot of universal truths. And then, you pick up the rest as you go on. Hopefully the unit culture, I've talked about this before, I've blogged about it. If you're treating your travelers and your floaters like shit, then really, what are you doing? Get out of here. They're here to help you. You want to send that nurse away? That person that you're like rolling your eyes at and being annoyed at, you want to send them off? You can absorb their patience. How about that? Oh, suddenly you're less annoyed with them? Yeah. Be nice. Yes, travelers, and this is a soapbox. Yes, travelers are getting paid more than you are, but they're also away from home in a place they've never been to. They don't necessarily have a built-in system of family, friends, etc. And they're there, for the money, but also to help us out. So unless you've got travelers that are being super shitty to you, you should be welcoming them and showing them where things are and answering their questions, instead of that, like, are you fucking stupid look, which I've seen even going to other floors in my hospital. Or like clinical sites when I'm a student, and it's like, no, really, I know how to do this. I just don't know where the fuck you keep your butt wipes. Like, really, like this is not a stupidity thing. This is just hey, I'm the new guy here. Exactly. But the nice thing is that while it's nice to have a good assignment, if you don't like it, you stayed at your first place a month and a half and then you hit the road. Exactly. You've got the option. So, you got the option. So there's like the shortest contract I've seen is 6 weeks, and the longest I've seen is like 6 months. But you have everything in between, and the most frequent one used, or what most nurses do, is usually 3 months. But I want to just talk about a couple of things you said, and please, that just like nail on the head. Number one, if you are a nurse now and you are curious as what's travel nursing is like, just remember what it's like when you have to float, right? And just not knowing those things, but knowing the bigger picture, right? You might not know, if you're a cardiac nurse and you float to the ortho floor, you might not know the nitty gritty of what happens on the ortho floor, but you understand the big picture. Yeah, we try to prevent the big problems. And once they're good enough, we'll send them to a rehab. That is what travel nursing is like. If you can just put yourself into, what am I like during a float? Am I nice to the other nurses? Do I welcome the challenge? If you're not comfortable in that situation, travel nursing might be very difficult for you. And then the second thing is, you're right. Yes, I am a travel nurse, so obviously I have that bias, but the bigger picture is like, if I'm being a dick to any nurse at the nursing station, whoever, be a dick to me. I deserve that shit. But if I'm confused, if I'm legitimately confused, just give me the benefit of the doubt, because I promise I'm not trying to be a bum or a bad nurse or annoying. I'm just trying to figure out what the situation is. Yeah. Give them a break. They don't even know where the bathrooms are.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. So, what have there been any new place? Like, do you have anything on your radar for the future? Are you going to go somewhere warm? Like, you're going to all these cold ass places in the North Hemisphere's winter. Like, what are you doing?
That's a good. Everyone and their mother's been asking me that same questions, patients included. Look, this is the thing. I decide because I have to take my baby, my Silver Surfer, my Prius with me wherever I go. Mm-hmm. So in my head, I was like, let me get New England done with, right? Sure. I was like, if I'm going to go to Maine, I got to go to Maine when it's really Maine. And that's in the middle of the winter. So I went to Connecticut. I went up to Maine. By the way, time out. I only went to Maine because the New York license took a lot longer.
The truth.
The truth comes out. Yeah. So I wanted to go to New York after Connecticut to be real, but I went to Maine. The license took quicker and I wanted to get up here as soon as possible. So that's what I did. Came up to Maine. And now I feel like I've had New England. I've understood it. I grew up in Boston, Connecticut, Maine. I'm done. Let's dip. So I'm going down south and then going out to west. But to be honest, like being out here in Maine, it's fantastic.
Do you like seafood?
Fantastic. Yes. And everyone.
Have you had a lobster roll?
They keep telling me that this is not the right season, and people.
It's not. It's not. I just had to ask.
Yes, but no.
Because apparently there are two. There are two different kinds of lobster rolls, and I can't remember which is from which. But I love lobster rolls, so I just had to ask.
I'm not a chef, and I'm definitely not a seafood connoisseur.
Yeah, that's.
But okay. I'll find out, and I will report back. We're not going to get into that.
So my friend Brad, who grew up in Maine, Brad's been on the show way back when, but yeah, he grew up in Maine. And so we have all of these, he and I have these arguments about regional dialects, slang, phrases, things like that. And one of the things, I'm going to call him out here because it makes me laugh every time and I think about it all the time. So where I grew up, the donuts that you buy that are kind of long and rectangular, they're really wide, but they're not very tall, not usually filled with anything, but they can be. Do you know what kind of donut I'm talking about?
I think so. Are you talking about, wait.
What do you call it?
Is it a, no. We had it. So one of the patients gave it us as a gift. It's a cannoli. A cannoli.
No, okay, that's it. So what I'm thinking
what do you mean
here in the Midwest, we have donuts that we call Long Johns. And
that's not a thing.
So out in yeah. Okay, so Brad's gonna want to high five you. In Maine, they're called donut sticks, like the Dunkin' Donuts in Maine. It's called a donut stick. And so Brad one day was like, "Hey, get me a donut stick," and I was like, "What the fuck is a donut stick?" In my head, I think of like French toast sticks, which is something. Anyway, totally it was like a regional thing. But there was one night that we were at the nurse's station, and one of my good friends who has since passed away, this is one of my favorite last memories of her, is that we were sitting at the nurse's station, and he and I were like having this argument about donut sticks versus Long Johns. Long Johns is also a regional term for like long underwear. It was like this big regional debacle that we had. And at one point, Brad actually got really kind of pissed at me and like just went back down to the other end of the hall. And my friend and I were like, oh my God, we were laughing. We were like, oh my God, he's really mad. Like I'm really involved in a legit argument about the regional names for donuts. So anyway, long story short, anytime I'm in Maine, I think of those fucking donut sticks.
Yes.
But anyway, I'm glad that you're having a good traveling experience and that that the first one was good. It propels you, boosts your confidence. So I'm glad you're having a good experience with this.
I'm gonna really enjoy this.
Do you foresee yourself doing this until you don't want to do it anymore? No expiration date, or I don't know what.
Yes.
What do you,
so no. My thing is, I'm going to do this until I find a place that I want to live more than I want to grow up in. Like my thing is, I'm going to go to all the places I think I would love. Mm-hmm. If I want to stay there, I'm going to stay there. If I don't, I don't. But I have to love it more than how much I love being back at Boston, just closer to the family, right? Sure. So and that's why, in the beginning, I was like, I'm going to go to 2 places, then California. Now that I'm thinking, I'm enjoying every city, every place I go to. Why
stop? Why limit?
I'm going to go to 90 cities before I get to Cali, because I know the last time I was in California, I was like, this place was made for cute. It is I love that place.
I'm sorry. The part of my brain that wants to crank out content is this is a great opportunity for you to document it however you want to document it.
Yes.
Blog it, whatever, keep a notebook, something, because this is a really cool experience. And you said it last time, you're not attached, whether it be romantically or financially or family wise. So just do it. This is what traveling nursing is like beautifully designed for, is to be able to explore all these parts of the country or world, depending on how far you want to take the traveling. And then you get to say at the end, like, oh, of all the places I've been, the place that really makes my heart skip a beat is here or wherever.
Yes.
And it's true. It's got to be better than home. It's got to be better than all the stuff that's like comfortable and familiar and, family and all of that. So that's cool. Can you name just a couple other cities that are somewhere between East Coast and West Coast that you want to hit up? Like, are there any other big ones?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Let me hear.
So I want to go to North Carolina. I don't know where, because I just have a friend down in North Carolina that whatever city he is, I think it's Durham, Raleigh, whatever the place is, right? I also want to stop in South Carolina. I want to go to Myrtle Beach. I think that's fantastic.
I love Myrtle Beach. It's so pretty there.
I'm telling you, but I know everyone thinks Florida is crazy, but I have to taste it. I feel like I have to taste Florida.
Yeah, I mean, there's crazy shit about everywhere.
Yes, and then
just watch out for the alligators, and you'll be fine.
No, don't worry about that. I don't get close enough to worry about alligators. But yes, so then I have to stop at Atlanta. I want to go to Louisiana. For those who are looking, Missouri is there's a city in Missouri. Like they give you all of these these graphics and like these stats and telling you where the best places to be a travel nurse are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they calculate how much you're getting paid, the cost of living, how much the stipends are going to be, how much all of these things, and they'll tell you these are the best places. And a lot of the times, Missouri and Texas end up high on that list. Mm-hmm. So I want to go there just to understand why. Is it because there's such a short of nurses, like they don't have enough nurses, or is it just because there's too many people? Like I want to go there to find out.
What is it? And also, I don't know, as you're talking, I'm like, yep, I would eat there. Yep, there's good food there. Pretty much yes. If you're going to travel through the South, you've got to enjoy.
Oh no, there's a million places. There's a million places.
Yeah, I get it. I feel that way too, but I just, that was kind of everybody has that list of I'd live here and here, but it's what are the places that are actually next yes. on the list, the places you're actually trying to target. So that's nice. You got a nice little swoop down, the coast, and then maybe through, I wish nothing but good things for you. I can't wait to hear how this goes in the future. Yes. So I want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about something that's more seasonal and more topical. 2020 is the year I'm going to try to be more topical and timely with things. Yeah. So it is the new year. I'm not one of those people that actually sets I have New Year's resolutions. I'm not the person that's going to the gym 3 times a week for the first 3 weeks of the year, and then it tapers off. I am one of those people that I like to, if I get an idea in my head that I want to set a new goal, I set that new goal. Whether that point of newness is a Monday or the new year or whatever. But for the sake of argument, we're going to call the new year a good opportunity to set some goals. I just recently put up a blog post about what kind of goals I'm setting professionally for 2020. And kind of talking through some people think you should keep your goals private. That's something for you. Some people say put it on blast, and then you've got an extra level of accountability. I think there's a blend of that occurs. I've got some goals that are very much private and that I'm guarding, not only because they're private, but also it's well, if you don't hit that goal, you don't want the whole world knowing how far you fell short. So there's this protective level, but also I'm kind of well, I talk about it. And so I put that blog post up. I'm not going to go through all of my goals for the year, but I think that there were some common things that I did to set my goals. And so I wanted to talk to you about just some of the general ways that you think about goal setting, how you try to keep yourself on track, because everybody's got a different style. Some people are like me, they have to have a plan, they have to write it out on paper in order to feel like it's something that's coming to fruition. Other people are I just made up my mind I'm going to do this thing. I don't need to tell anybody. I just need to do it. So tell me, where on the spectrum do you fall? Like how do you start this process? How do you say, like, I have goals? Clearly you're achieving one, right? You're traveling. So how do you take these things from like crazy ideas in your head to being like a thing that you're doing?
Yeah, that's really
a big question.
It really is a big question. I think it is a super important question because, I mean, that's what we're all doing, right? We're all trying to chase something. We're all trying to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. But for me, like, to answer the question is honest, like I am definitely the opposite of you. Right? I don't write things down.
You don't have cute Post-it notes hanging on your computer monitor?
Yes, but the caveat is that I need to be more of that person just because, look, I am, if I write something down, it's not like that I'm tied down to it, but like I need to start seeing progress. I need to start documenting progress. I need to start seeing how far and how I'm getting to where I'm chasing, right? But because for me, it's every day I wake up and I'm like, if there's a new thing, I'm chasing that. Fuck everything I thought 10 minutes before. Forget about yesterday. Like, I just want to just move on to the thing that I'm starting now. But I feel like if I have things written down, it's going to help me a little bit better. But the answer is yes. No, I just go with the gut. Every single day, every single morning, every single week, month, year, there's no written resolutions. There's no written plan for the day. There's no tasks list. All it is how am I feeling? What do I want to do? How can I get there? And what do I need to do today to get there? I mean, that's just how I work.
Yeah.
See the downfalls. I definitely see the downfalls.
No, but it's true because I think that there needs to be some balance between me making lists and like watching productivity videos and feeling like I need to make this academic. Like I feel like everything needs to become like a fucking QI project now because I've been in school for so damn long. But there's something to like one of the things I think about is the things that I want into goals or things that I want to change are the things that piss me off on a regular basis. So, for example, those things that I said as like quality improvement projects at work are the things that drive me crazy, or the whatever thing that bugs me in my apartment, the piece of furniture that I can't time I come around the corner. Like if you have a goal, you have to think, how am I going to make this better? Because you might move that table over 3 inches so you don't kick it when you come around the corner, but then maybe it's infringing upon other parts of your space. So for me, I do feel like there's some level of, it doesn't need to be serious planning, but I think about like, what are the things that most annoy me? Those things I want to hit first, you know? So like whether it be at work or in my private life, I think, what are the things that are most pressing? Or even on the flip side of that, like what are the things that I can do that are going to bring me the most benefit in my life? You know, like those are the things that I try to hit first. What are the high highs and the low lows? Like what are the things that I'm going to benefit from immediately? And what are the things that are going to stop pissing me off if I can just get this change, you know, to happen, whatever that is. I know that's like a huge vague concept, but that's where my head goes.
I hear you.
The other thing, and I said this in the blog, one of the phrases or statements that I heard that made me feel like I had more control was when I quit smoking cigarettes, which, you know, I smoked for 10 years. It was stupid. I've been a non-smoker for 6 or 7 years now. I stopped keeping track because it's just so far in my rear view. But one of the things I had to tell myself was that I wasn't, because, you know, you get those cravings, you get those urges. Maybe you don't, you've never smoked, which is good. But I would tell myself, I'm going to quit for today, just for today. And then I would re-up that agreement every day. So it's kind of like when I set goals, I think to myself, I'm only going to have this goal for today, but I need to renew that commitment every day. Because otherwise saying like, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, every week for the rest of my life, that's a big goal. Like, how are you going to keep that?
That's humongous.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to think about.
Can I ask, are you still saying that today?
Yeah. I try to very much so because I like I said, I have this really productive side of me, and then I have this really lazy side of me. And if I don't keep those two in balance, I either burn out really fast or I don't achieve much of anything. And then I feel like I'm wasting time that I'm not guaranteed not, achieving those goals. So I don't know. I think that anything that I want to stick to, even though I may have a longer term plan for it, yeah, I kind of have to take that mentality. I have a very addictive personality. I have to take that mentality of, I'm going to do this good thing that may be disciplined or hard to do, but I just need to do it for right now. Like, I don't need to overwhelm myself with the thought of every day or forever, or I can never do this thing again. And if I fall off, I think of it as like a skateboard. If I fall off the skateboard, pick up the skateboard, get back on the skateboard. So yes. I don't know. That's for me is just like kind of general habit forming and goal setting. So I don't know. Maybe that's overcomplicated. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much.
So yes, I mean, like, it's because it's really easy to make New Year's resolutions. It's really easy to like to set the goal, to say something that sounds right, to sound achievable,
put it on
whatever.
Your Pinterest board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. The harder part is understanding who you are and which goals make sense, but how do you chase the goals that you set, right? So like you can make whatever goal you want, but you have to understand who Q is or who Adrian, whoever you are is, so then you can figure your way out the really crazy, sneaky, most difficult. It's a hard thing to do, and especially when it comes to health goals. Us nurses know, like eating healthy, stop smoking, whatever the goddamn goal is, lose weight, which everyone and their mother wants to do, right? So like those are those goals that are very difficult, and those are the goals that you have to look at yourself the longest in the mirror and just like really break it down. Yeah, I am kind of a lazy bum sometimes. Yeah, I do overeat sometimes. Yeah, I'm not gonna study for this test someday because I want to go out and see my friends. Whatever your goal is, you have to figure out where your stops are and then like plan around it.
Yeah, and then also you remember that just because you had like that piece of pie that you weren't counting on eating that day doesn't mean that you like throw the whole thing out the window and you say, fuck it, I screwed up, that's the end of it, it's never going to be good again. You just say, okay, I had a little oops, and then that next day you make that commitment all over again. And I feel it's that way whether it's you want to go to school and you have to fucking push through those last weeks of the semester, or following your plan or whatever it is. But I think there's a lot to be said for trying to make these changes as like intertwined with what you're already doing as you possibly can. So like, I tell people if you have to take a medication every day and you can't remember to take that fucking pill, well, instead of making that an extra thing you have to do, combine it with something you already do every day. So if you know you need to take your blood pressure medicine every day, instead of putting it in a cabinet you never go to and making that another task on your list, if you know that you're going to brush your teeth every single morning, put that fucking bottle of pills right next to your toothbrush. Make those things go together, because then you're more likely to have success if those two things are connected. I think it's the same with anything, same with school or career goals. If there's something that you can do that is going to couple up with something else that you're trying to achieve, or even if you've got a buddy at work and you know they're studying for the same like certification exam as you, or they're trying to hit up the same gym as you, like this is why we to do things in packs. Like we're gregarious creatures. And so I think that if you've got a goal to set, having like an accountability partner or somebody to like make this less solitary and unenjoyable for you, like that's I think that's a great thing to do,
No, I hear you. And like, so
I say all these things. Am I doing them? I don't know. Maybe.
No. But like the thing is, it's like I hear you, but at the end of it's really very difficult for me to just decide to do something and then like work. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing before you actually go about doing it, right? Because every single day you do something and you're saying, I'm doing it because I want to lose 15 pounds, but why? why do you want to lose? Do you want to lose 15 pounds so you can post on Insta? Like, what are you losing for?
Or do you want to lose 15
for?
pounds so that you don't feel out of breath when you walk up the stairs to your apartment?
Exactly.
Like, what is your, well, we talk about those rewards. What's your reward? Is it an intrinsic reward? Is it something that's good for you within yourself? Or is it extrinsic? Like, do you like the looks you get when you're jogging through the with your tiny shorts or whatever? Like, what are you actually after? Like, what are you seeking?
That's a thing, bro. Because that why is going to carry you. If that why is real superficial, and maybe the superficial means a lot to you. If that why doesn't mean a lot to you, that why is going to last till the 15th of January.
And I
right?
don't think we should necessarily put those negative values on those superficial things, because even if you want to get your master's degree because you want to say you've got your master's, well, that's okay, because you're still doing all the other things that it takes to get degree. Like, it's important for other reasons too, but you can flex a little. Like, that's all right. That's the benefit of having achieved something. So, like, yeah, maybe that's another thing we can say, is that one of those ways to motivate yourself for those things that maybe otherwise wouldn't be desirable is to keep your eye on that fucking prize. Like, think about what you're going to achieve and how close you are to getting there, like, I don't know. I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible about thinking about those like long-term abstract goals, like I want to lose 50 pounds, which was on my, my list of like goals, my second year as a nurse. And now I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I set that up. I said I wanted to do that, but I didn't say like, I want to eat less dairy. I want to, like, I didn't have steps in there to make it happen. Yes. I just set this goal that was like, I want to do this cool thing this year. But for me, I'm the type of person that I know I need to break it down. I need to say, like, what are the first 3 things I need to do to make myself actually want to do this, able to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. No, I hear you.
It's so tough though. And, people message me sometimes and they're like, I have this decision to make and I don't know if I want to do clinicals here and work here or like some totally other different combination. But people will email all the time and be like, how do I get this thing that I want to do? And it's like, well, that's really difficult for me to answer, because why do you want to do it? What's your motivation? Like,
Yes. So I'm happy you said that, because yes, I forgot because we were just talking about some like abstract, like big picture stuff, right? So
yeah, for sure.
you said, you just brought up all the nursing stuff, and yes, we're both nurses, and that's why we're doing this. So bringing us back to like New Year's nurses resolutions, right? If your New Year's resolution, like mine was 4 or 5 years ago, was to get more IVs in, right? Like, if it's as simple as that? It's like like every single. So there's this dude at the hospital I work at right now that calls every nurse's station every time I'm on, and he says, "Yeah, I'm still working on getting more IVs in. If you guys have a hard stick, I'm doing it." He's a SICU nurse, so like that makes me so happy to know that there's a nurse in the hospital that I work at that is reaching out to better his nursing skills. Mm-hmm. And he has the balls to say, I don't know it. I'm a bum. I can't do it, but I'm trying to do it. And if you have the opportunity for me to fail, I am ready to jump to it.
So he took this idea, which was, I want to get better at this like big picture. And he said, how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to fucking call Q every time he's working and say, hey man, if you got any people that need sticks, you need a peripheral IV, I'm your dude.
Yes.
That's an action step. That's something that's actually tangible, that can be done, that can actually like improve his practice. It makes me wonder, like, what other things he's doing. Like, for example, like one of the things I do is I've started following a couple like nurse IV gurus on Instagram, because they do little videos and tutorials on how to like do stuff better, or like your technique. That's an action step. And it's an easy one too. And So yeah, this is cool.
I'm saying I love it. I'm telling you.
I do it sometimes too. I don't put out a blanket call because when you say on my unit, if you say, hey, if you need any help with blood draws or IVs, you got 4 people going, actually, over here, I need a tonic draw. I need a new peripheral in bed 22. Like you're gonna be like, whoa,
IV nurse.
whoa, hold on. I still have my own med pass. Like, so yeah, so I haven't done stuff like that, but that's an idea to say like, hey, I saw you're getting an admission. If you need help getting blood cultures or whatever, let me know. These are real things. So figure out how to turn your like big picture goal into like, what can I do today to get me a little bit closer to this? Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So it was funny because one of the goals that I set was to be more involved on committees at work because I really want to be involved in decision-making, policy forming. Like that's important to me because at my hospital, like if you don't speak up, they're never going to know when the shit isn't going to get fixed and your practice isn't going to get better. So I very much like committees. And so I went from being on none the last time. I just did my self-review for work, like literally just filled it out early this morning. But one of the things I said
about those self-reviews.
Yeah,
I have a hard. Okay. All right. Yes.
Well,
go ahead.
that's a whole separate topic. But one of my reviews that I did a year ago was I said like, hey, I want to join a committee. Well, now I'm on 4.
There you go, girl.
And a couple of them are just like, fun little, like one of them is like the celebration committee on my unit. So it's like, it's nice. But then also I'm on like the staff education committee and I chair our unit-based committee or I co-chair. So there's varying levels of intensity here, but it was, I had this goal and I signed up for one thing and then I did that for a little while and that went well. And I thought, maybe I'll throw on another. And then I joined another committee and on my contribution to that committee started slowly and then it grew and then I joined another committee and now I've started this 4th one, which I haven't attended any meetings yet, but I guess the point that I'm making is I had this idea that I wanted to be more involved. And rather than saying on day 1, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, I just said, hey, for start, just going to do this committee unit with my people. And now that on a few of those steps, I can say, okay, now I'm ready for hospital-wide shared governance. And I want to get involved with that because I've been doing these little I almost said itty-bitty titty committee. That's not at all what this is. I've been joining these small committees in preparation to like level up. So I think there's something to be said for like finding these little bite sizes that you can do. And then if you decide that bite-sized piece wasn't well, you haven't like destroyed an entire plan because you're just doing it one bite-sized piece at a time, And if you decide on bite number 2 that it's not for you, well, find something.
And that's your decision, right?
Yeah.
That's your decision.
Goal setting is difficult, though. I don't just want to make it sound like we have all the answers in this like 45-minute episode. But it's important to talk about these things and to talk to other people about how they goal set. You and I have totally different like structures or like ways that we formulate goals. We still have kind of what works best for us. Exactly. And then you got to be true to that because if I gave you my steps on how to achieve goals, it's not going to work for you. The same way that your way of going about things is not going to work for me. So I think it's really important to like glean what you can off of people that are similar to you. Be like, oh, hey, me and Betty Lou are really similar in the way we set goals. I might ask like, how's she doing this? How, like she's on a bunch of shared governance.
Just the easy stuff.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like a huge process like I'm making it sound like, but I just think knowing what you want or at least exploring what you want, not being ashamed if that turns out.
Adrian, before we go, can I just like expand on something you just said?
Yeah, of course.
So the goals are super important, right? And all of this stuff is super important. We're talking about how to set them and how to keep track and all that. But like she just said, so the bite-sized thing just speaks to me so well because it doesn't matter what the goal is. If you're not willing to act, look, if you write down the plan to the T, and you need all the plans written down and planned out or whatever, like Adrian, great, get them done. But the most important thing is to jump into that action. If the plan is to join a committee, join that committee the day of. Just leave a note under your charge nurses or your manager's door. I am part of the UBC, of the governance, or the EBP, of whatever club you want to join. You just need to start. Please start. It doesn't matter what your goal is. If it's starting IVs, call the unit, tell them I want to start IVs. If it's joining a unit, if it's getting a job up, whatever the goddamn thing is, please.
If it's not drinking the 600-calorie coffee out of the cafeteria, then you find somebody else on that unit who also is trying to break that habit, and you stick with them, and you give them dirty looks across that nurse's station if they break, and say, back on the wagon for you. Please. Yeah, no, these are good things. These are good things. You
gotta start, bro. Just start it, man. Yes.
So we could talk for hours longer. This is a chronic problem that I have, is that I have guests like you that I'm just like, an hour feels so inadequate, but it is what it is. And I have another committee to run off to in a little while here. Of course I do. It's an interesting topic. I think that this could be discussed in 100 different directions for 100 different personality types. But the bottom line is that if you want something, you need to keep that prize in mind, because that's the only thing that's going to get you there. If you lose sight of what you're doing, then you're just going through the motions, and that shit's not going to last. It's not going to be anything that really helps you in your practice or in your person. So, very philosophical, very woo-woo here.
Oh, I hear you. Well, we're about that woo-woo. We're nurses. We understand. You need the hugs and the kisses. The TLC is what we do.
You do. So it's a new year. Will you share just one goal? It doesn't have to be.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Share a goal with us listening out here. What goal that you have for yourself for this year?
My whole goal is because it's very specific to travel nursing, but it's nursing oriented. My whole goal is I need to stop being so negative. I love the part of travel nursing when it comes to actually being on the unit, being a nurse, meeting the coworkers, all that stuff. But being a travel nurse, you have to go through orientation every time. You have to go through all of those steps. You have to go shadow a nurse. I am trying to just accept that and take in that information, because yes, the orientation might, for the 80% of the meat, is the same. You just need the directions, but it's a good time to really get to know the people. It's a good time to get settled. It's a good time. So I'm trying to accept all the difficulties that come with being a travel nurse, even though that this is just my second assignment.
I feel that. I'm the type of person that what do I say all the time? That hour-long meeting could have been a 10-minute meeting. I get it. It. You want to just power through. You want to get to the guts of it. You want to skip over all the fluff. Yes. But you're right. In that fluff, there is relationship building, learning a different perspective. Even if you're hearing all these things that you already know, you're getting paid. Just let them talk. Right. Let them show you how to work the fixes. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. And I think that when you have a level of grace about yourself, a level of suave, you allow those things to happen. You don't roll your eyes, tap your feet. When is this going to end? Well, you know what? It's going to end when it ends. And until then, just make the best of it. So, all this advice I'm given that I don't take for myself. Dish it out. Oh my God.
I hear you, girl.
All right. Well, I'm going to call it here. The carpet is rolled out for you. You can come back again sometime soon. It's always a pleasure. Where can people find you? People on the internet,
of course.
Where do they get to you?
So it's simple. Q, the nurse, so just the letter Q and then the nurse. You can find me on Insta, on Facebook, on YouTube, on all of the nines, and every podcast version place where you pick up and listen to a podcast, you can find me there. Yes, just Q the nurse. Thank you very much.
Same. And you can check out nursinguncensored.com. You can find us on all the same places you can find Q. That's what's great about this, is that we're all we're all out there. You can find us. So until next time, Oh, happy nursing.
Here at Nursing Uncensored, we may be, well, uncensored, but we're not unfiltered. Protected health information has been changed and concealed to comply with HIPAA. The things we talk about are from years of experience with thousands of patients, things we've read, stories we've heard. If you think we're talking about you, we're not. Also, we're real nurses here to provide helpful and accurate information, but don't take anything we say as fact without doing your own research. Refer to your state's Board of Nursing, Practice Acts, and your institution's policies and procedures if you have questions about your practice. Lastly, our very strong opinions are ours alone and do not reflect those of our employers, educational, or professional institutions. Thanks for listening, and happy nursing, folks.